So here's the directions for the standing practice. The principle I'm employing here I call surrender without collapse. So I'm consciously using my skeleton to take the weight of my body. I'm surrendering to the support of the bones. The muscles are relaxing as much as they can, but what I don't want is for the body to collapse. So there's kind of a sweet spot that we're looking for, which will become kind of familiar to you if you practice this over time. We're going to build it from the ground upwards. First thing I want to do is to be standing in the centre of my feet. So where's the centre? Best way to find the centre is to explore the other options. So if I was to lean forward, I can feel my toes grabbing on a little bit, my heels are going light, and then I can come back to the centre and relax. And then I can go into the heels, feel the toes going a bit light, and I can come back to the centre and again relax. I can drift to the right a little bit, so I can definitely feel the difference between right and left. Centre and relax. And then into the left foot a little bit, so this right foot's going a bit light. Come back to the centre and relax. So by doing that, I know where the middle of my feet are. So I'm going to really let the feet relax and settle down right into the centre of the arch. Next thing to do is soften the knee. So I want the knee to be soft but not excessively bent. So again, if I want to find that sweet spot between not too straight and not too bent, first thing I can do is lock the knees out completely, feel how that feels, and then unlock the knees, and then bend the knees a little bit and drop down, and then come back up. And somewhere in the middle, there's a position where the joint is just softened and not locked, and I can relax my feet, relax my calves and my knees, and let my thighs relax into the floor. The position of the pelvis, I'll just turn sideways. Again, we want a neutral pelvis, so the pelvis is slightly dropping under, as if the tailbone's made of lead. So I could either stick my tail out, if I flex the pelvis. Here's neutral, and there's turning the pelvis excessively under. So somewhere in the middle, there's a place where the pelvis will just sit. And I say, the feeling is that the tailbone's heavy and made of lead. So, dropping the pelvis under, the knees are soft, I'm in the middle of my feet. I'm relaxing all the way from the pelvis through the legs and really feeling the support of the floor on the softness of the feet. And with the breastbone, again, like we were doing with the tailbone, the breastbone feels heavy and it just drops towards the floor. What it doesn't do is collapse. So I could explore those two positions, the collapse of the breastbone, which will be this, but also excessive lifting of the breastbone, which will be that. Somewhere in the middle, there's a place where the breastbone is just settled. So in that position, the breastbone settles, the rib cage relaxes onto the waist relaxes onto the pelvis drops under, tailbone's made of lead, knees are soft, feet are soft. Everywhere from here is dropping, sinking. And then the shoulder girdle basically just rests on top of the rib cage in whatever position it finds itself in. But if we've got a nice neutral chest, then the shoulder blades will find their way onto the back nice and flat, and the collarbone will sit on the front, and the arms will come down hanging nicely neutral from the side. And just put a little tiny little bit of space between my elbows and my body there, but let the arms be absolutely heavy from there. So shoulders and arms relax onto the rib cage, which relaxes onto the waist, and the waist relaxes onto the pelvis that turns under slightly into soft knees and soft feet. So the whole body is dropping, surrendering, but not collapsing. So all of this is basically sinking. 95% of this is sinking, allowing the weight of the body just to be surrendered to gravity. And there's just a tiny bit of lifting, which is found at the back of the head. So again, if I turn sideways, if I imagine I've got a couple of fingers here on the back of the skull, and what I'm doing is I'm just drawing those fingers up very slightly and just tucking my chin in. As if I've got a hair, single hair on the top of my head, and somebody's just pulling it up. So there's a very slight bringing in of the chin. And what this is to do is to avoid this position where we relax too much and we get this head forward position. So 95% sinking onto soft joints and a very slight lifting in the back of the neck, just to raise the head and bring the chin in very slightly. And this is our practice position. And so we could stand here once we've set it up for a couple of minutes or 5 minutes. And what you might find as time goes by is that the muscles, as they adjust and you get more relaxation in the body, just start to shake around a little bit, so you get a bit of vibration. Sometimes you get discomfort in various areas of the body, and then your choice is to either sit with that discomfort a bit, see what happens to it. You might find it transforms over the time that you're standing. If it's too uncomfortable, best thing to do is just move out of the practice and then come back to it another time. But that's the basic standing position for standing practice.